Good morning and welcome back. Today we are starting our new chapter. So just a reminder, if you haven't done the chapter 10 test, we need to get that taken care of, okay? So please get that done. It's on It's Learning. Go to chapter 10, go to the bottom. It'll be in there. Okay, so today we're going to start talking about surface area and volume of some different three-dimensional shapes. And our first shape is going to be a prism, and more specifically a right prism, okay? Now, a prism, if you look at the picture of me down here, I'll make this a little bigger. So we got this prism. You see it's rectangular, okay, and it's got 6 different sides, okay. So that's our prism, and it's going to have 2 congruent parallel bases, okay. So these parallel bases, in this case, on my example, they're square. They don't always have to be a square, but the bases, there's one on each side, and as you can see, they are parallel. They run parallel to each other. Okay, and then there's also going to be some lateral faces here, and we got 4 of those around the edge because it's a 4-sided base. Okay, so that's your prism. It's a right prism. That means that they are going to be perpendicular to the base. The lateral faces will, so it's going to form something like this, a rectangle or a cube with their 6 sides. If it's an oblique prism, they don't have to, or they're not going to be perpendicular to the base. We'll talk more about this tomorrow, but today we're focusing on right prisms. So, surface area of a right prism. When we are finding the surface area, so surface area, SA, if you look at our key here, stands for surface area. And surface area just means what is the area of all the parts that are on the surface of this shape. Okay, so we've got one end here, one end there. Those are our 2 bases. And we have the 4 sides, the lateral faces. Okay, if we add up the area of each of those, we will find our surface area. Basically, how much material does it take to make this shape? So, first thing I want to talk about is there are 2 bases, right? We have a base on each side, and in our case, they are squares. If I knew the area of these 2 bases, okay, I could add those 2 together. So I'm going to do 2 times the area of the base. So B, as you can see here, right here, stands for the area of the base. I have 2 of them. Okay, so if we look here, I can unwrap this shape, and I have a base here, a base here. Now, as I unwrap this, you'll see that that'll take care of this top and the bottom. Now, if I look at this base, if I find that perimeter of that base, okay, there's 4 sides, measures up here, 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 and here. Do you see how there's another rectangle that would make up the perimeter of the base? Okay, so as I unwrap it, the perimeter of the base times this side, which, if we think back to our original shape, that is our height. Okay, so if I had to do that, that will give me the entire surface area. So P stands for perimeter of the base, H stands for height. Now our volume is a little simpler to find. It is just what is the area of the base times whatever your height is. And if we think about that, it's because if I find that area of the base on the bottom here, and if I would just stack that up, 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 keep stacking that all the way to the top, so times how high it is, that'll take care of the whole shape because it is consistent as it goes up. Okay, so I know maybe that was kind of hard to see from home. If you come back to school and want to see these in person, let me know. I'd be happy to show you. But for now, let's get started. So these formulas, make sure you have them written down. And also make sure you know what like B stands for and P and H, because if you don't, then it doesn't really help you. So right here, P is the perimeter of our base, B is the area of the base, and H is the height of our prism. So if we look here, we have some flexibility on what we choose as our base. And it doesn't matter as long as you're consistent throughout the whole problem. Okay, so when I have a drawing, I like to kind of shade what is my base. So this top is my base, which it's parallel to its base, so also the bottom. That means that the height will be 12. Now, over here, I'm going to write down what my area of my base is. So area of the base would just be 7 times 8, or 56. and that's going to be feet squared. Okay, so if we use our formula now, it'll be 2 times 56, because it's 2 times b, plus our perimeter. Now we haven't found that yet. If there's a 7 here and an 8 here, we know this is also a 7 and an 8. Or I said that backwards. That's an 8 and that's a 7. So if we add those up, 7 plus 8 plus 7 plus 8, if we add all that up, that will be what P equals. So 7 plus 8 is 15, plus 7 is 22, plus another 8 gives us 30. Okay? Now, we'll have to do 30 times whatever our height is, which is 12. So 2 times 56, that's going to give us 112. Oops, 112. 30 times 12, that will give us 360. We add those together, we get 472 feet squared. And we can know it's squared because it's surface area. If you wanted to double check that, it makes sense because this 56 had an area, right? So 56 feet squared. The 2 was just a multiple, so it had no label. The perimeter was 30 feet. The height's 12 feet, so feet times feet also becomes feet squared. When we add those together, the label stays the same. So there's our first answer. Now to find our volume, pretty simple. We already have found out the area of the base, so 56 times our height, which is 12. Now 56 times 12, if you can't do this in your head, that is totally fine. Just use a calculator. 56 times 12, that'll be 672, and this one will actually be feet cubed. Okay, think of it, it's in 3 dimensions, so cubed. Also, we had 7 times 8 originally, so that was feet squared, times another 12 feet. So that was our third label. All right, our next one. You have some flexibility here on what you do. Once again, if you want to use the bottom, the 10 and the 5 as your base, you can. I'm going to use this side as my base. It does not matter as long as you are consistent. So if these are my bases, then B will equal whatever 5 times 6 is, which is 30 inches squared. Okay, your P is going to equal 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6. We add all that up, and it will be 22 inches. Okay, so once again, we do 2 times whatever B is, plus whatever our perimeter is, so 22 times the height, which in our case is 10. So that 2 times 30 is 60, plus 22 times 10 is 220. Add those together, we get 280. And remember, it's surface area, so inches squared. Now our volume, we'll just take the 30 times 10. 30 was our area of our base, 10 is our height, and we get 300 inches to the third, or inches cubed. All right, we keep going, and some of you might find it helpful to have the formulas a little closer, so we'll rewrite it one more time. If you don't have this written down in your notes, you probably want to. So once again, it is your choice what your base is. I'm just going to use this over here. The other one is technically right there. It's hidden though, as we only see part of this shape, but it is the same shape. It tells us it's a rectangular prism, so we know it's the same. Okay, so once again, we need to find what our B is. 5 times 6, just like the last one, 30. Label's different, so centimeters squared. And your perimeter will also be the same like the last one. 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6 will be 22 centimeters. So we do 2 times 30 plus 22 times 11. That gives us 60 plus 242, and we'll get 302 centimeters squared. Almost done with this one. All we got to do now is 30 times the height, which is 11. 30 times 11 gives us 330 centimeters cubed. All right. Now the final problem you'll notice is a little different. Do you see here? They tell us what the volume is, and we're trying to find what that x is that would make this true. Once we find that out, then we'll find the surface area. So if we think about it, we still would solve for volume the same way. So volume we know is base times our height. So if I treat this as my base, then that means my height is 25. So B times 25 would equal whatever the volume is, which they tell us here is 525. So if I divide by 25 there, I will find 25 goes into that 21 times. 21 equals B. Okay, now since B equals those two sides multiplied together, 7 times x, the only way this is possible, so 7x is what we get, is if 21 equals 7x. If we divide by 7 there, we'll get x has to be 3. That's the only way that's possible. So if x equals 3, I plug that in. That means our area of our base is 21 inches squared. So I'm going to plug in a 3 right there. Okay, now to find our perimeter, now that we know that's a 3, 7 plus 3 plus 7 plus 3, that adds up to 20 inches. And over here we can do 2 times the area, so 21, the surface area, or no, sorry, the area is the base, and then plus the perimeter, which is 20, times our height, which is 25. So 2 times 21 is 42. 20 times 25 will give us 500. Add those together, we get 542. Don't forget your label, inches squared, and you are done. So that is all for today. Please take a look at It's Learning. There is an assignment. Let's get that done. And if you have any questions, let me know. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.